Hey, thank you guys for watching this video. Again, we have the lovely woman here. I'm not going to say her name because she's fixing to tell us that. Same thing as the last video. And so I don't have to do too much editing, let's go ahead and get on in it. Thank you guys for joining. Again, this is Communion, Knowing Experiences with the Lord. Alright, so I have a binder because I'm professional now. Alright, tell us your name, age, and occupation.
My name is Carmen Paul. I am 16 years old and I don't work yet.
But you're in high school, right?
Yeah.
What grade you in?
I'm in 10th grade.
10th grade. Ooh, get on up there. Double-digit grade. Okay, so we want to know your Christian background and influences. Tell us a little bit about your history.
Well, like, what do you mean? Like how I used to be and how I am now?
No, like just your history. I mean, were you raised in church? Like, you know, did you have any Christian background? Were you atheist? Were you agnostic?
Well,
like, you know, what was going on in the world of Carmen before Jesus?
When my mom and dad always were in church, from what I know, and then whenever they started to get into, like, well, not get into trouble, but like whenever they started to have problems, they stopped going, and then we didn't go until like 4 or 5 years after my parents got a divorce. So I mean, I was raised in a Christian home, but we didn't go to church.
Okay, so cool. That's a good answer. Alright, so when was Christ introduced to you and you, like, responded, as in you wanted to follow after him? How old were you and what happened in that situation?
It was probably, probably.
She just poked herself with this thing.
It was probably when I was 14. I stopped acting like an idiot for the most part, and I went to church with her. True story. I went to church with her, and I felt, it's not really that I was like I didn't get connected with God immediately. I just felt bad for the things that I did, and I wanted to change it. But I'm the person that likes to doubt myself and to judge myself really hard, because I'm like, how can I be a Christian and love God, and how can He love me when I'm out here doing this? And then I'll be like, okay, so I'm actually going to change it, and then I'm like, oh, but I don't really want to, so I never end up doing it.
Right. So when did the Lord become, like, tangible? When was the moment where it was like He completely manifested Himself to you and you understood that what you were doing wasn't as good as what He had for you?
Honestly, it was just recently.
Tell us about it.
It was when I started going to the church that she now goes to, which is Kingsway. I always knew that I had a relationship, but it wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be. It wasn't the way I wanted it to be. And I was trying to dig myself out of a rut, but I couldn't. And then when I got to this new church and I realized that people aren't paying attention to me, people aren't looking at me, people don't care what I'm doing, because they're so focused on God that they could care less what anybody else is doing around them. And that was the like the most difficult thing for me. Like getting into God and really focusing on Him was so difficult because I didn't know how to focus on Him. And when I started going to this new church, God kind of pushed me towards the flags, because we have flags at our church.
And she's real good with real good with them.
I try to be. But he kept kind of pushing me towards the flags, but I was always like, no, I don't want people to look at me, like, I don't want people to pay attention to me, like, I don't really want, like, oh, what if he's looking at me, what if he's judging me, what if she's judging me, oh my gosh, she's looking at me. So I didn't do it for about a month, and then I was like, alright, this is stupid, I need to stop. And then I really, I got into it, and then I really started to like it, and then I started to do it every Sunday. And then me and my boyfriend broke up from a year and a half. And then it was like, wow, I've really been relying on him, and I haven't been relying on God. I don't have a strong enough relationship with God because I've had such a strong relationship with this guy. And
Wow.
then I got into it with him. Like, I got to a point where I could be comfortable with God and know how God loves me is how I'm really seen. Like, how God sees me is how I see myself now.
That's awesome. So what does your communion with the Lord look like on the daily? What does your daily walk look like with Him?
Honestly, I don't talk to him as much as I should.
I said the same thing in my video.
I mean, there are some times where, like, I'll just be listening to something in the car and I'll be like, thanks, Lord. Or he'll do something small, like help me find my glasses or hold the light a little bit longer, and I'll be like, thanks, Lord.
Yeah.
You're so good. And then I just start praying with him and speaking in tongues and just praising him. And then most of the time it happens usually on a daily basis, but I usually don't pray before I go to bed, and I don't pray when I wake up.
So there's no schedule for it. It's kind of just
Whenever it happens.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, because it's really hard to maintain a relationship if it's on a schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to do it, and I don't like doing things that I have to do.
Right. Who does? Especially if you're told to do it, you're like,
oh, you'll be doing so much more stuff.
That's probably a rebellious spirit.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something about speaking in tongues. You're the first person who has mentioned that. For those who have not, I don't know who's going to watch these videos. I'm hoping it'll go worldwide, but you never know. But for those who don't know or have never heard about what speaking in tongues is, can you try and explain it to the best of your ability?
For me, it was when I stopped thinking so hard about what to say and just said something. Like, because I used to think so hard, like, oh, I can't speak in tongues, because it was like I didn't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I heard everybody else around me, and I was like, well, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, what? I don't want to copy them because it's not the same thing.
Oh my gosh.
Okay?
I just had a pregnancy symptom right there. For the sake of the video, we must continue.
Anyway, so speaking in tongues is basically just like when you open your mouth and you don't think about what you're saying, you just say it.
So what does it sound like?
Random stuff. Like, it can be a random noise or just something that just sounds cool. Or you just say it out loud and you just like, yeah, da, 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 and then it just happens. Like,
we
you
like
don't
to call it the shikity baba.
Yeah. And then you just say it.
Okay. I liked that answer. Okay, so you've talked about some of your struggles in the past. But why don't you tell us about some of your progress? I mean, now that you have that daily communion, how have you progressed?
I'm actually really proud of myself in this aspect.
Yay!
Yay! I haven't really been diagnosed with dyslexia, but I've always been in extra classes to help me with my dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
And before this church, it was always like, well, not really before the church, but before I actually came to God and really realized, it was like I used it as a crutch, and I always was like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, that's too hard. But now that I don't need this. I'm smart, and God's got me. God's gonna take care of me. I'm really bad at grammar, but we took a grammar test in my English class, and I made a 100 on it.
What?
Grammar was like the worst thing. Spelling and grammar are like the two hardest things for me. And because reading isn't as bad, but grammar was really difficult.
Yeah. But you're getting it now. Yeah. And that's because of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, so if you had to pick a verse that would define your life and your purpose, what would your life verse be? For example, mine is Mark 1:17, and Jesus spake to them, saying, Come ye after me, and I will make you fishers of men. I feel like that's my life verse because I'm meant to be an apostle. I'm meant to go out and allow Christ to shine through me, and it'll draw men unto me, unto him, whatever. So that's my life verse. That's what I feel my purpose is. So if you had to pick a life verse for your purpose, what would it be?
I don't know. I don't really read the Bible much. I know that sounds weird, but I don't read the Bible much because I use my dyslexia as a crutch in that standing point, and I'm working on that right now. But there was a verse that my dad always told me, and there was, I don't know, two verses really that I memorized was, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And that one helps me now because if I'm hesitant to do something, I'm like, I can do everything that I want to do. I can do anything that I want to do because I have God, and I don't need a crutch. That goes back to my dyslexia story.
Yeah.
It helps me with that because it's like I have the motivation. I can do it, but I'm going. And I've stopped saying but as much because I'm like, no, I will do it. I am going to do it. It's going to happen. And that's something else that I struggle with, is telling myself that I can't do it.
Yeah.
So
you can
I don't
do all things.
I don't really know.
So if you had to describe yourself as a part of the body of Christ, which part would you be?
I don't know. I want to say the hand because I'm open, and I like to meet new people and talk to new people, and I'm really social.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so this is going to be our last thing on here today. Because I can't think about what I'm saying. Okay, I have it written down and I can't. Okay, so how about let's share a word of encouragement. Just who do you feel touches your heart the most? I mean, if you could give anybody a word of encouragement, who are they and what would that word be?
I think everybody, and that it is, you have to be willing to be vulnerable. Because vulnerability is something that everybody struggles with. No matter what you say, everyone will always struggle with vulnerability. Because you're afraid to get hurt, and you're afraid to have pain. So most people end up putting up a wall and blocking out what God can really do for them. And it's because they're not vulnerable. And it's really difficult to be vulnerable because you don't want to get hurt and you don't want anything to happen. And you're too afraid to open up. But God says, open up and I will give you everything and I will protect you and I will not let anything happen to you. And that's something that a lot of people really struggle with. Especially me.
That's a good word. Okay, so that ends our video. Sorry. Sorry. You know when your nose burns and it burns because you're fixing to sneeze? That's what that face was. But I saved myself for marriage. JK. We all know that's a lie. So, alright. So, Carmen, thanks for your interview on this communion. I'm going to post it ASAP. I can't wait. And hopefully you who are watching will like, share, subscribe, comment, whatever those YouTubers like to say. New to this, so. But yeah, definitely just keep tuned. I'm going to try. I'm interviewing as many people as possible. I'm editing as fast as I can. I don't have a very good editing thing. It's just one of those free ones that go with Microsoft. So if the video ends up a little crappy, I blame that. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I'm an amateur. So, y'all have a good evening, day, morning, wherever you're watching this, and I look forward to hearing your comments in the comment section.